Here's an example of how the mainstream media cannot be trusted, how the cultural elite is divorced from people in the street. Just look at the reviews of a new documentary on the wife of President Donald Trump, Melania. The documentary is called Melania. And Amazon boss Jeff Bezos paid an extraordinary $40 million US for it, with $28 million of that going to Melania Trump in what critics call effectively a bribe to get in suite with the Trump administration. Now, that already tells you, I think, what's coming. It's been a real hate fest to the left, one of those 2 minutes hates that you get from, George Orwell's 1984. A real pile-on. Let's all unite by hating Melania and particularly this doco about her. In the Sydney Morning Herald, for instance, it's been gloating through the bad reviews that have been describing Melania Trump as having the face of a fist and calling the documentary pure endless hell. The Guardian even likened the movie to Zone of Interest, a documentary on, get this, the Nazi who ran the Auschwitz concentration camp. And others simply call it terrible, worse than you could ever imagine, the worst film ever. Now, this documentary is focused on the days before Donald Trump was sworn in as president for a second time and was actually overseen by Melania Trump herself. And, so it actually gives nothing away. It's very controlled. It's more about style than insight. Although there are a couple of intriguing nuggets like this. Melania coolly telling her husband she didn't watch some big moment of his.
Hi, Mr. President. Congratulations.
Did you watch it?
I did not. Yeah, I will see it on the news.
But go to the Rotten Tomatoes website. It's a Bible of movie reviews, and it's got on one side what the critics say and on the other side what registered audience members or ordinary people say about a movie. And you will find just 7% of the professional movie critics liked Melania, but 99% of the certified audience, they loved it. And the opening weekend was, in fact, the biggest box office recorded for a documentary. Joining me is Sean Spicer, Donald Trump's first White House spokesman. Sean Spicer, thanks for joining me. Critics hated Melania, the doco. Audiences loved it. What does that tell you?
Nothing new, Andrew. It tells me absolutely nothing new. When you look at the disparity between the people who actually went and saw the movie versus the left-wing critics at like the New York Times and Hollywood that were never going to like it, nothing surprises me. I was there for the premiere at the Trump Kennedy Center with the president and the first lady. The audience loved it. I mean, the amount of cheers. I'm not one of those people that likes to cheer at a movie theater. I feel like it's like, who's there? But we knew that the president and the first lady were there. It was very, very well received. And clearly people around the country agreed. The previous record was set over a decade ago. This blew through it. The critics had assumed that it would make about $3.5 million in its opening week. We now know it's well in excess of double that, $7 million. And it was from around the world. It was funny when the First Lady welcomed us to the Trump Kennedy Center. She went down into the front stage there where the screen was, and I didn't know what was about to happen. And she started welcoming the cities. They were simulcasting it around not only America, but throughout Europe at the same time. And so she would say, Nashville, thanks for joining us. Los Angeles, thanks for joining us. And you sort of started to realize it as one of the people in the theater there, that all of these other studios were being connected electronically. And then she started to go through Europe. London, thanks for being with us. I think Madrid and Paris came up as well. But it was sort of really amazing to be in the theater as she was welcoming all of these other theater goers from around the world to watch it at the same time as we were with her and the president.
Well, it is noted that you didn't say she welcomed Sydney. I wonder what happened there. But Sean,
I'm hoping it was a time change.
Well, let's hope it's that. Sean, this doco, it presents a certain kind of Melania. I haven't seen it. I've just looked at the trailer and read the reviews, those I trust and even those that I don't. It seems, she keeps the veneer. She's very private, very guarded, very controlled. Is that the Melania you know?
Pretty much. But I'll tell you what, here's the thing. I went and I brought a buddy of mine who's not from Washington, D.C., and we walked out and I said, what did you think? He loved it. And he said, this was so cool. And as somebody who not only knows her, but I've been inside the White House, I've been inside the residence, I saw things that I hadn't seen before. I've been in Trump Tower in their residence. They really brought you inside. And this is where I think the critics are missing a lot of this. It's not just about her. It's about the places that she brings you. You got to go inside what it was like as backstage as they were getting ready for the inaugural balls in the White House, moving in and back in for the first time, preparing the invitations. As a political junkie, Andrew, and this again is where the critics missed it. They focused entirely on her and what she said, as opposed to the entire audience experience. As a political junkie, as somebody who's been to all those places, that's met her a bunch of times, I still found it, so interesting and intriguing because they showed me things that I hadn't seen. And as like I said, the gentleman sitting next to me that I brought, he's not from Washington. He's interested in politics. He was fascinated by the whole thing. And I don't think critics will ever be satiated with what they see. To them, it's never going to be good enough. But I think that if you are intrigued by the First Lady, intrigued by the family, intrigued by the process, even if you don't like the Trumps, the idea that they bring you inside this process is a once-in-a-lifetime thing that you'll never see anywhere else.
What is she like?
I've always found her to be kind. She's very knowledgeable. She knows more than people ever will let on. About politics, about her husband, she's her best. She is his best defender and advisor. She's funny. I mean, I enjoy her company. I think she amazes and sort of overwhelms people by what I believe they perceive her to be. She's a very stunning and beautiful woman, and I think sometimes they kind of people go in thinking she's just going to be a beautiful face, but she is a beautiful person and a really smart person too.
Apparently, she's not quite as enamored of Vladimir Putin as her husband, so I think she's a very interesting force for good there.
She brings up the letter in the document. By the way, she references that at the end of the doc. I don't want to give it away, but she talks about all the things that she has done in the first year in office, and one of them is that note to Vladimir Putin, where she really tries to make the case against killing and the loss of life.